Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, Crafty Concepts with Erin. I'm Erin and I have a double page scrapbook layout for you today that's just going to be bright and happy and summertime fun. So this is the Gnomes for Summer collection. This is the coordinating sticker sheet. This was just released on July 3rd and it is still currently available. The workshop is, I just checked today at the time of filming, and this, as I said, it's going to be bright summertime fun. I have been collecting all of the Gnomes seasonal collections as they've come out, and this is the last one. So if you've been following along, you know there's gnomes on one side of the paper and then no gnomes on the second side. So here we've got the yellow background, fun summer icons with the adorable gnomes. He's got a little drink. This one's got a little life preserver floaty, and just they're so cute. This side still have the summer icons, beach ball, watermelon, flamingo floaty, little hose playing in the sprinklers. Remember doing that as a kid? So those are kind of like the hero pattern paper, and the rest of them are a little bit more neutral. We've got this distressing in the background with little paper sailboats, and then you have a nice plaid in the blue kind of lagoon colors, and then the text paper with lots of summer inspired, you know, gone fishing, splish splash, chase the sunset, sunny days ahead. And then this is my favorite. It just reminds me of waves, yet in a colorful pattern. So what I plan to do with this collection, we're gonna have, as I said, a double page layout. Let me grab my photos. I have a whole series of 3x4 photos. My boys were invited to a party. It was like a graduation / birthday party, and they rented this giant inflatable, like bounce house style slip and slide. So I have just a whole bunch of photos of the boys sliding down this slip and slide, having a grand old time, and just smiles and happiness, and you know, summertime fun, water splashing. And here they were in the pool beating the heck out of each other with floaties. It was a dinosaur and a big dinosaur bone, and they were just, this poor floaty took a hit. It was a casualty of the epic floaty battle, but it's going to be fun to document these. So let me clear these out of the way. When I do want to show you, today's inspiration is coming from the Creative Design Team Volume 1 sketchbook. Now this is a digital download. I do have mine printed out and bound, but I'll leave this in the description box below. They do come with all of the cutting guides for each. You have all the dimensions, but I am inspired by this layout because it has a whole bunch of 3x4s. And my goal is to make every sketch in all of the sketchbooks. So we're working our way through, not necessarily in order, but today we're going to be using this one. And I am going to switch it up just a bit, but this is my inspiration. So let me scoot this aside and bring in my Versamats. And rather than a white daisy background, I think we're going to just keep going with bright and colorful and use Lagoon. Lagoon is a coordinating color in this collection, and the workshop does come with a bunch of cardstock and coordinating colors. So we're going to go with that. Now the sketch design has a pattern paper on either side, you know, kind of just bordering, framing everything in, and then one across the center. So really with my photos, I could use any one of these pictures. They're predominantly blue and yellow. When you look at the photos, you've got this bright blue, and then this one here is just like that lagoon colored cardstock. So there is a tiny bit of red, but by using the striped paper, that brings in all the colors and it makes it really easy for me, because I think that I want to do this one across the center, and then we can accent with some red. So these are printed with a white frame, but I think I do have a little photo mat here. Let me just grab one and try it. I think that if we frame this with it's actually rosy, it's kind of like a watermelon red, which is perfect for summer. That really does make those photos pop. So let's see, we could go with this one here, but I do like this. I like how it brings the white in since we have a darker background. And then the word paper is fun, but my photos are going to cover a lot of this, so you're not really going to be able to appreciate the words. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these down as the sketch describes, and then we will start putting our layout together. Now I did cut these slightly different than the sketch. I went a little bit bigger, and the reason is because I'm double matting my photos. So I wanted a little bit more room on the top and bottom. So they're 3x4 with the white border, and then larger if you add in that color. And I just wanted to make sure we had plenty of this pattern visible on the top and bottom. And I like to overlap my papers just a titch, so I always go a little bit wider than the actual recommended measurement. And I think that that's pretty cute. I'm making sure that these are kind of lined up because they were cut from the same, so that way they are continuous across the page. I have the rest of my photos adhered to photo mats, and we'll just place these down for now. I'm just dividing them up. These are both Hayden, so I'm going to kind of spread those out, and the rest of them are Clayton. I guess Clayton was being the most photogenic that day, so he has all the photos. And I've got the other pictures here. So on the sketch, we have these down towards the bottom, and the sketch does have more photos up here and here, but I think these are all the photos that I'm going to include on this layout. This is one of the branding strips. I trimmed off the pattern paper, and I thought it was perfect for bringing in more of that rosy color and just covering the transition between the pattern paper and cardstock. So we will just run those down either side. Off camera, I did ink up the edges of this pattern paper with Lagoon ink just to finish that off, and I did get everything adhered down aside from some of the photos. Now for embellishments, there's not necessarily a lot of options. I could use the banner. That would be super cute. Banners go really well on lots of layouts, so I could fill this space here. I did pull these little word stickers that I thought would go living it up, awesome, and adventure time. So I know I want to incorporate those. I could use the date sticker, and then either one of these titles would be great. Soaking up some summer fun or good day sunshine, either one of those would work up in this area here. But I also had the Gnomes for Summer Scrapbooking Stamp and Thin Cuts, and this Splish Splash I think is going to be perfect. So there's great titles on here. Summer Adventures, Lazy Days of Summer. The hose, I'm going to use that because that really goes hand in hand with a slip and slide, right? So I thought that, and then the title, but that still doesn't leave me with a whole lot to embellish. If you look at the sketch, they have some smaller embellishment clusters kind of scattered around, which do a really nice job of leading your eye around the layout. And they do have more photos taking up space up in this, either top corner. So I have a lot of room. We could put the Splish Splash title here, and then, I need something that's going to make a statement. So I looked through my embellishment binder, and I found this little sun left over. This was just a print and cut sun, and that got me thinking. I love using circles, right, to kind of ground smaller embellishments. What if I did a large sun? So I turned to my Cricut and cut this out, and I used Sundance for the background and Lemonade for the top piece. Now this is a SVG from Close to My Heart that I uploaded, so it's not something on Cricut Access, so you had to have bought it from Close to My Heart and uploaded it. But I thought this might be really fun to put underneath there. So I don't want it covering too much of my photos. What if we know what we could do? Since this is see-through, we can kind of do both. We could overlap some with just the outline portion, so you're still appreciating more of the photo and it's not so, taking up quite so much of it. Let's bump that down. I don't want it against the top. I think that looks pretty cute. And then we can put our title here. So sometimes it's nice just to kind of hold the title up so you can see how much space it's going to take up. And I think that is going to look really nice right there. I love the sun. It's really fun. And now we just need to bring some yellow down over into this corner. So they have their journaling down here, but I also have this space here. I could put journaling. If I want to draw your eye across with some embellishments here, bringing that yellow over, I think that's what I'll do. I'll switch the journaling to here and embellish here. So we still have the stickers, and now we need to figure out what we could do. I'm a big fan of tags. You'll see me kind of poking tags out the top. We can also bring in some of the pattern papers or even colored cardstock with just shapes like banner tails or something like that. Or we could use our little pennant banner here. So I'm going to hold off on those, but that is an option we could use. I cut a couple of these tags from the Lemonade and Rosy to tuck down here and fill this space, and then we can maybe layer some of the stickers over the top of them. So this will just give the stickers more presence rather than just laying them down, plus bring a big pop of that yellow over. So these are the nested essential dies, and this was totally all my crafty YouTuber friends made me do it. I've seen a lot of them using these, and you know me, I love sets like this. These are the decorative shape dies that Close to My Heart had very recently, and I use these all the time, but there's different shapes in here. So I don't have anything like this, and I didn't have with the rounded corners, and I love how these have the double stitching and you have so many sizes in here. So I added this to my collection. Those become like workhorses for me, and I use them over and over and over again. Let's go ahead and get the sun glued down. You want a fine tip glue for something like this because the top layer is kind of skinny. So this is the Barely Art glue, and I'm just going to go around dotting little bits. You don't have to cover the entire surface. And if you don't have this sun image from Close to My Heart, there's lots of suns on Cricut. You can just search sun and find so many different varieties, or just use a circle and some triangles and make your own sun up here. That would be really cute too. Now I intentionally left the glue off of this bottom part so that I could slide the top piece over the photos. That's not wanting to go. I keep catching on something here. Let me wiggle that into place. I am struggling. That's okay. We got it. Now I can just go in and reinforce those pieces that I didn't get enough of the glue onto. Once we get this done, I think I want to move on to my title, and it's always helpful to put an acrylic block or something heavy on top while that is setting. So I've got this Splish Splash, and I want this to be white. So what I'm thinking, rather than stamping it right onto the background, that's kind of risky with embossing, I'm going to use the exact same color cardstock. Again, this is Lagoon, and I'm using the light side. We're going to use white Daisy pigment ink. If you don't have a pigment ink, you can use VersaFine for embossing. I'm just tapping my anti-static powder tool to reduce static, and then we will ink this up, and I'm using my stamp positioner because my ink pad is not very wet, so I know I'm going to need to do this several times just to get a really good impression. If my white Daisy pigment ink was really saturated, I could have been more confident and stamped right onto my layout, but you'll see this is going to blend in beautifully and you will not even notice the difference. It'll look like it's onto the layout. So I covered that in powder, tapped off the excess. We'll go ahead and funnel that back into the jar. And then I did let this heat up for just a moment. I'm using my heat gun to melt that white embossing powder. So you can see the magic. I did speed this up quite a bit. And I do not have a coordinating die for this stamp set, so once that cools down, I will go ahead and use my microtip scissors. And then just so you don't have to watch this, I will go ahead and fussy cut that off camera. Let me bring this back into frame here. And because I've used the same color cardstock, it's going to just virtually disappear into the background. Now, if you look at the photos, there's lots of water splashing. So I wanted to kind of mimic that on the background. I've got the Dina Wakley white gloss spray. I'm going to add some splatter. So I'm just moving those items that aren't adhered down, and then I'm using scratch paper to kind of mask off the areas I don't want the, gloss spray to go. And then shake it really well. There's a little ball inside. You'll hear that rattling, and it helps shake it up. And I'm not going to spray it. I'm actually just going to unscrew the nozzle and tap it down. This is something that I use a lot for wintry layouts when you want some snow flurries, but it's going to be fun against that lagoon background for just little splashy kind of accents. I'm going to carry this up to the top. I'm just protecting my Versamat there. If you wipe it up right away, it's not a big deal, but you don't want to let it dry on your surface because it is a paint. So I did also the lower left-hand corner, you can see there, and I gave that just a moment to dry. Now this sticker here says living it up. And then we'll go ahead and bring our cardstock shapes back in. Yes, I am covering up some of that splatter I just worked so hard to put down, but that's okay. It is radiating out from behind these shapes. Now I have all this open space up top, so I went ahead and cut another set. I'm looking for my spatula. I'm gonna just break the adhesive bond behind here so I can slide those in, and they'll look like one continuous piece going all the way through. I mentioned earlier I do want to use that super cute hose stamp. So let's go ahead and get that ready, and then we can find a spot for it on the layout. I do want to add a little bit of marker coloring to this one, so I'm going to use my intense black ink. Ink this up. There is a coordinating die for this shape, which is really nice. So I gave that just a moment to dry. Now I have true blue, and let's see, this other one is light green. And I'm not doing any shading. I just chose these for the colors. The green matches the green in the dinosaurs, and then this is a nice blue color for the water. So I thought maybe we can go along the little dashes, but let's color it in solid, and then you probably can't see it on camera, but you can see the little stitching marks of the water behind the blue marker, and I think that looks pretty cute. So we'll go ahead and get that die cut out. And then we can finish the embellishments. So we could put this up here, and I still have my word stickers. The red one says Adventure Time, and the blue Lagoon one says Awesome. So I'm thinking of just making a little word cluster down here. The boys were having such a fun time, but I was having even more fun just watching them because they were just all giggles and laughter. This was about 3 years ago, so they were about 15 and 17, and it was on dirt. So by the time they were done, the whole slip and slide was like mud water, and then they'd go jump in the pool to rinse off, and it was hilarious watching them trying to stay afloat on these dinosaurs, and then of course turning into like a pillow fight with the dinosaurs in the pool. I just really enjoyed the whole scene, and it was just good, wholesome fun. You know what I mean? I remember doing this kind of stuff as a kid. Our slip and slides weren't quite as fancy, but still fun. I did go ahead and add my journaling, and I just put a text box into a Word or Pages document. I measure exactly the size using just a little ruler. I measure how big I want it to be, size my text box to that, and then I space my lines at 1.5 and then cut them with my little guillotine trimmer here. So it's super easy. I just use this little trimmer, and then I do have a video showing exactly how I do that, so I will leave that listed in the description box below. So I wanted some more, possible embellishments, and being a summer layout, I knew I had a 4-season summer pack, and I did pull this from the sticker sheet because it says living the best summer life, and the colors are absolutely perfect. So I do keep my paper collections by, organized by theme, so I have all my summer papers together. So it was very easy to find, and I thought this might look fun right up top here. I just wanted a little something extra, so I like that. And then also I'm making a big effort to use my stash. These acrylic shapes were the acrylic VIP shapes. This was a VIP special a ways back, and there's just lots of fun different shapes in here. But I did pull out this little camera. Cameras always work, and I thought, maybe we could put that up here just to add a little something. I cut out a piece of scrap paper here to back it with because I wanted it to pop just a little bit more, and I think I like that. So let me grab some glue dots and we'll attach that. Like I said, cameras always work. If you just need a little something to fill up some space or add to an embellishment cluster, just think of cameras. I have a lot of different stamp sets that have cameras on them, but it was nice to use like a little, acrylic shape, a consumable item. I'm making a big effort to just check my stash regularly, and if something will work, add it to the layout. Let's add a little shimmer brush sparkle to the sun. This is Lemonade. Now, these are close to my heart shimmer brushes, so they're no longer available, but Stampin' Up! Does have a clear shimmer brush called Wink of Stella, and I haven't tried it, but I heard it's very, very good, so that will give you the same glittery effect that I'm doing here, just to add a little sparkle to this sun. I, of course, want to use my shimmer brushes up, so I'm going to go with that. Let me hold it up. I did give it a moment to dry. I don't know if you can, it's kind of hard to pick it up in the light, but I think you can see all that sparkle. And look at, they're just having a good time. Crazy boys, right? And let me hold this up. I did add some assorted glossy dots. They had like a watery color and then the rosy color, so I thought that those were kind of a perfect little accent. And then just bringing back in the sketch, you can see I use less photos, but still, you know, held the footprint of the original design, making a few changes. You can find everything I used in the description box below, and if you need help ordering the Close to My Heart branded product, just reach out to me via email. You can find that in the description box below, and I'm more than happy to help. Here's some more summertime fun layouts, and I'll see you very soon.